Yo, time to wake 'em up!
Hello and welcome to Discover 360. I hope you enjoyed this channel. It is dedicated to artificial intelligence, travel and tech.
Yo, check the mic, 1, 2.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Thanks for watching.
Next cipher begin!
All right, let's get into it. Today we're talking about the new face of cybercrime. And you know that old image of some lone hacker in a dark basement? Yeah, you can just throw that idea right out the window. The game has totally changed. Cybercrime is now a professional, multi-billion-dollar industry, and honestly, understanding its new business model is the only way we're going to be able to fight back. So let's break down the trends that are shaping this whole new landscape. Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First up, we're going to look at the massive shift in the criminal mindset itself. Then we'll get into the new tactics in ransomware because they've really changed. We'll also cover the real role AI is playing, how the criminal workforce is structured now, and then finally, we'll talk about the one timeless vulnerability that really ties this whole thing together.
So to really get a handle on today's threats, you have to start with the why. You see, the motivation behind these attacks has done a complete 180, shifting away from just causing chaos to, well, calculated commerce.
And this, right here, this basically tells the whole story. Back in the day, a lot of cybercrime was just about causing trouble for the fun of it, you know, doing it for the lols. But today, these groups are run like actual businesses. They are totally profit-driven. They're looking for scalable, repeatable income streams, which makes them more predictable in a way, but also way more strategic and dangerous. Okay, so let's talk about ransomware and see how this whole business mindset has completely rewritten the playbook. It's a whole new ballgame now, and believe me, it's no longer just about locking up your files. So here's the big switch. The old model was pretty simple, right? They'd encrypt your data and then sell you the key to get it back. The new model, it's much, much darker. They steal your data first, and then they threaten to leak it to the world. So the main threat isn't disruption anymore. It's straight up extortion. And why would they make this change? Well, it's a brilliant, if evil, business decision. Data theft can lead to way higher payouts because companies are absolutely terrified of the regulatory fines and the brand damage that comes from a public leak. It also lets the criminals position themselves in this bizarre way, like they're involuntary penetration testers who just happen to find a flaw in your system. It's cynical, for sure, but incredibly effective. And this just shows you the sheer scale of the problem. Think about that. Over half of all global ransomware and digital extortion attacks are aimed at organizations right here in the United States. And that's largely just because of the huge number of potential targets and, of course, the money flowing through the country's digital infrastructure. So, the big question on everyone's mind, where does artificial intelligence fit into this new corporate structure of crime? Is it the ultimate weapon we've all been dreading? Well, the reality is a little less Hollywood than you might think, but honestly, it's no less dangerous. This quote pretty much nails it, and it applies just as much to cybercriminals as it does to the rest of us. They're not using AI as some kind of magic bullet. No, they're using it as an incredibly powerful productivity tool. It's all about making their jobs easier, not replacing them. Right, so what are they actually doing with it? It's not about building Skynet to launch attacks all by itself. Not at all. It's about using AI to make the things they already do cheaper, faster, and a whole lot more effective. And here's where it gets really practical. AI can write a phishing email that's absolutely perfect, with none of the usual grammar mistakes we're all trained to look for. It completely breaks down language barriers, so a gang can attack anyone, anywhere in the world. And get this, after they've stolen terabytes of your data, they can use AI to instantly sift through it all and find the juiciest secrets for blackmail. It is a massive force multiplier for them. So that brings us to the organization itself. How is all of this professional crime getting done? Well, it requires a whole new kind of structure, one that honestly looks a lot like a modern, specialized tech company you'd see in Silicon Valley. The most popular model by far is what's called Ransomware as a Service, or RAS. And the best way to think about it is like a software franchise. You have a core group that develops the malicious tools, and then they lease them out to affiliates who are the ones actually carrying out the attacks. This just blows the doors wide open, lowering the barrier to entry so even less technical criminals can launch these incredibly sophisticated attacks with off-the-shelf tools.
And this tweet from VX Underground, I mean, it's hilarious, right? But it's pointing to something that is dead serious. These criminal groups are actively recruiting people with very specific, high-level skills. They're looking for professionals, not amateurs.
So what's wild is that a modern cybercrime org chart has way more than just a bunch of coders. Sure, you've got your developers, but then you have initial access brokers whose only job is to find a way in.
And this is the part that gets me. You now have non-technical specialists. We're talking people who understand cyber insurance policies, compliance laws, even negotiation tactics, all to put the maximum amount of pressure on a victim to pay the ransom.
But for all of this advanced tech, this sophisticated business strategy, the success of these huge criminal enterprises, it all still hinges on one timeless and very, very familiar factor.
Over 70%. Let that number sink in for a second. According to a Bitdefender survey, that's the percentage of professionals in the US who've been told by their own company to keep a data breach quiet.
Now, what's so interesting here is how the human element gets hit on both ends of the attack. First, they use social engineering to trick an employee into letting them in the door. Then, they use the pressure of public shame and massive fines to convince management to pay them off and keep the whole thing silent. People are the entry point, and people are the leverage point.
And that's really what this all boils down to. As cybercrime gets more and more like a regular business, more rational, more specialized, more focused on exploiting our fears, our own awareness, our decisions, and our integrity, well, they become the most critical security control we have. It really begs the question, doesn't it? With threats this professional, is our humanity our biggest vulnerability, or is it our last true line of defense?